South Sudan's political landscape is shifting. In a sudden move, President Salva Kiir dismissed key figures in his government. Two vice presidents, James Wani Iga and Hussein Abdelbagi, were removed from their positions. The head of the National Security Service, Akech Tong Alo, was also dismissed. These dismissals sent shockwaves throughout the nation. No explanation was given for these drastic actions. This lack of transparency only fueled speculation and uncertainty. The international community watched with bated breath, wondering about the implications of these changes. Were these dismissals a sign of internal power struggles, or were they part of a larger strategy? Despite the upheaval, President Kiir moved swiftly to fill the vacant positions. Benjamin Bol Mel was appointed as the new vice president, replacing Iga. Josephine Lago Yang stepped into Abdelbagi's shoes as the other vice president. Charles Cheechmayer was appointed as the acting director general of the National Security Service. These new appointments signal a potential shift in the balance of power. Only time will tell what these changes mean for South Sudan's political future, but one thing is certain, the nation is at a crossroads. Adding to the political tension, a peace deal that had been holding the nation together expired. This agreement, a beacon of hope after years of civil war, officially ended in February 2025. The timing couldn't have been worse. With political tensions already running high, the expiration of the peace deal created a vacuum. The African Union recognized the urgency of the situation. They prioritized South Sudan in their 2025 agenda, focusing on key areas. Conflict resolution and implementation of the revitalized agreement on the resolution of the conflict in South Sudan took center stage. The AU also aimed to strengthen democratic practices and promote good governance. However, the challenges were immense. The AU's efforts to revive the peace process faced significant hurdles. The political climate, poisoned by mistrust and suspicion, made negotiations difficult. The expiration of the peace deal had a ripple effect on the business environment. Uncertainty and instability made investors wary. The fragile peace that had allowed for a semblance of economic recovery was now under threat. The situation in South Sudan remained precarious. It was a stark reminder of the fragility of peace and the constant need for dialogue and reconciliation. South Sudan found itself grappling with a dire economic crisis. The ongoing war in neighboring Sudan had dealt a devastating blow to its economy. As a landlocked country, South Sudan relied heavily on Sudan for its oil exports. The conflict disrupted these exports, crippling the nation's primary source of income. The consequences were catastrophic. Hyperinflation gripped the nation, with the South Sudanese pound plummeting in value. The prices of essential goods skyrocketed, pushing them out of reach for ordinary citizens. Food prices in particular soared by a staggering 95% compared to the previous year. The government's coffers ran dry, leaving it unable to meet its financial obligations. Civil servants, including teachers, doctors, and soldiers, went unpaid for months. This financial paralysis further eroded the government's legitimacy and fueled social unrest. Businesses struggled to operate in this volatile environment. The plummeting currency made it difficult to import essential goods. The lack of purchasing power among the population further suppressed demand. The economic crisis was a story of interconnected challenges. The war in Sudan, internal political instability, and the government's financial woes had created a perfect storm, leaving the South Sudanese economy in tatters. The convergence of political instability, economic turmoil, and the humanitarian crisis created a treacherous landscape for businesses in South Sudan. The World Bank ranked South Sudan among the most challenging places to do business, citing corruption, lack of infrastructure, and political instability as major deterrents. The security situation remained volatile, particularly in areas where armed groups operated. Kidnappings, robberies, and extortion were persistent threats, forcing businesses to operate under constant fear and uncertainty. The lack of a reliable legal framework further compounded the challenges. Despite these daunting obstacles, glimmers of hope remained. The international community, recognizing the urgent need for support, pledged aid and investment. The African Development Bank, for instance, announced a multi-million-dollar grant to support small and medium-sized enterprises in South Sudan. The resilience of the South Sudanese people also offered a beacon of hope. Despite facing unimaginable hardships, they continued to exhibit remarkable determination and ingenuity. Local entrepreneurs in particular played a crucial role in keeping the economy afloat, often operating in the informal sector and finding innovative ways to overcome challenges. The path ahead for businesses in South Sudan remained fraught with difficulties. However, with sustained peace efforts, economic reforms, and continued support from the international community, there was hope that South Sudan could eventually emerge from the shadows of conflict and embark on a path of sustainable growth and development.